All right, so folks, today I would like to talk about something that was raised in the Keep Growing Mastermind Facebook group yesterday, which is how do you make sure that you get the copyright for your Facebook ads? And when I say copyright, I mean correct. How do you make sure that you get the copy correct so that your ads not only perform well on Facebook, but most importantly, really get approved in the first place? So one of the beautiful women in the, hey Jody, one of the beautiful women in the Growing Your Yoga Business program, she is just launching some Facebook ads about yoga therapy, and she asked for my feedback about the draft copy that she had written. And this is where we need to be really mindful of the language that we use as yoga teachers to get this one right. So we know that Facebook looks to create a safe and pleasant and fun environment for its users. That's, one of its overall intentions, that it wants people to be on Facebook. And to have people be on Facebook, people need to have a good time, right? And so if we have this in mind, Facebook is very specific about the language that you can use in your advertising in order to maintain that pleasant experience being on Facebook, being a user of Facebook. And so what they call disparaging or discriminatory language is not allowed in any advertising that you try and run. Now, this can seem like a bit of a strange concept for us because we're yoga teachers, right? We're in the business of helping people. We don't want to make anybody feel crappy. We want to help people feel better. Where this can trip us up is that when Facebook is reviewing your ads, so let me backtrack for a moment. If you've never made a Facebook ad, and I'm not talking about a boosted post, I'm talking about actually an ad through the Ads Manager, which is a very powerful tool that you can use to call in more students into your yoga business. I'm going to be doing it later today for my own yoga masterclasses that are coming up in a couple of weeks, making some ads. Maybe I should record it for you and share it. So when you're making an ad, once you create it, you tell Facebook how much you'd like to spend, how long you'd like it to run for, who you would like Facebook to show it to, what you would like it to say, the photo that you would like to use. Once you've created all of that, you then submit it to Facebook, and Facebook reviews it to make sure that it's okay and that it's going to make people feel happy, and it's going to be in keeping with the terms and conditions of being an advertiser on Facebook. I often get posts from my clients saying, I've tried to make an ad, I've done everything that you said, and it's told me that I've been discriminatory. And people get really upset about this because, like I said, as a yoga teacher, the last thing you want to do is make someone feel bad or make someone feel different or less than or isolated or discriminated against, right? We're kind of actually in the vocation of exactly the opposite. So this can be quite confronting. So here's what generally happens. In our desire to be of service and to explain to potential students the benefits of yoga, we can say things that the Facebook review system interprets as disparaging or discriminatory. And the fabulous woman in the Grow Your Yoga Business program, the draft copy that she'd written, I suspect would actually ping the bot or the person that's reviewing her ad, and would actually be rejected because she was doing this thing. Here's an example. Would you like help dealing with anxiety? Now, for us, that is something that we would say all the time. Yoga is great for helping with anxiety, right? You would say that. The thing is, from a Facebook filter and approval perspective, saying something like, would you like help dealing with anxiety, presumes we think the reader of that sentence has anxiety, and therefore we are attributing a negative quality to them. I mean, who wants anxiety? It's not a good thing. So that sentence, having trouble sleeping, that's something we would say, come to my yoga nidra. Having trouble sleeping, is insomnia a problem for you? Come to my yoga nidra class. Like, that is something that we would say all the time. However, in the Facebook approval land, telling someone that they've got a problem, telling someone that they might have some kind of condition, all of that is going to ping the bot and your ad won't be approved. This also goes for things like, are you feeling stress? Would you like to lose weight? All of these sorts of things where we are, the subtext not our intention, but the subtext of those sentences could be perceived that we are telling someone else that there is something wrong with them. And Facebook wants to make an environment for us to interact on online where no one feels like that, which I think is a great thing, right? Think about if there weren't these sorts of checks and balances in place, imagine all of the horrible stuff that people, advertisers who don't live by the yamas and the niyamas, imagine all of the disgusting stuff that we would all be confronted with all the time. Hey, loser, broke again? Like, hey, fatty, get up, like, you know, hey, desperado, can't get a date. Can you imagine all of the horrible stuff that you would constantly have to look at if you're on Facebook, if Facebook didn't have these really great checks and balances? So what this gets to be for us as yoga teachers is an opportunity to grow and to really reframe how we discuss important benefits of yoga. So for example, for my beautiful client in GYYB, she was talking about yoga therapy, and let's just use the example of stress. Are you feeling stressed or anxious and you would like to, are you feeling stressed or anxious? Come to my yoga class and I can help. Now, that's essentially the message, right? But like I said, that would be potentially attributing a negative quality to someone who's consuming the content of Facebook, and that's not allowed. So instead, what we can say is something like, would you like to feel more relaxed and sleep better? That's going to be okay. You can say that. Are you excited about getting fit and feeling healthy? Is better than, is it time to lose weight and get back into, has it been too long since you've been exercising? Let's see what else. Something like, are you ready to feel more energized and alive is going to be better than, are you feeling run down and like you haven't been taking good care of yourself? So essentially it's the same message, but it's a far more positive spin on it. And one of the things I love most about this is because I believe that this is good practice for us in life. You know, talking about things in positive terms, it's not spiritual bypassing. It's not, you know, being vacuous and not addressing something that's real, but it is just noticing the good first. I remember when I was doing my Anusara teacher training, Sarah Powell, I want to know if this is still part of the curriculum, but when back in my time in studying Anusara teacher training, one of the teachings from John Friend back then was that you should always, whenever you go to correct a student, you should always start with the positive and then give and here's something that you could, hey, this, you know, you're looking really strong in this pose. What would happen if you turned your arms slightly in instead of your arms not turned in enough? I actually think there's a great benefit in focusing on the positive first, not because we're forgetting the negative, but we're choosing to see that a situation can become better rather than calling out a situation for being bad. Is this making sense? Type me a yes or something if this is making sense. Hey, Allison's here. Allison, you've been so committed to these trainings every day. What else can I help you with, Allison? This is your last pop-up training for the week, so if you've got a question, get it in there. We've got like half time to go. Andrea's here. Hey, Andrea, it's so good to see you here. So when we're thinking about Facebook advertising, when you're writing the copy for your ad, you need to remember that Facebook is going to look at your copy and see, is this potentially insinuating something disparaging about the reader? Is the creator of this ad accusing the reader of having some kind of a problem? And you need to find a way to work around that. So for me, let's use my business as an example. If I made a Facebook ad, it might appeal to you. Like a really compelling sentence would be, are you struggling as a yoga teacher? Are you struggling to pay the bills as a yoga teacher? Not getting enough students to your class? Are you one of those broke? You love yoga, but you're always broke? Like those sort of things probably would pique your interest, right? But they wouldn't be allowed on Facebook. And personally, they're kind of low-vide. It's kind of fear-based marketing, which, you know, I'm not a fan of. I'm a fan of love-based marketing, which is what that Writing from the Heart course is all about. If you want to learn a truck ton about writing copy from someone who's a professional qualified writer and editor, go buy that course. But actually, I think this is good for us. So it would be better for me to say, would you like to call in more students? Are you ready for more abundance in your yoga teaching? Is it time to have even greater ease and support in running your yoga business? Those sentences, same intention, same sankalpa, just much more high vibe. So this is the tweak to make if you are running Facebook ads, or even if you're doing boosts. This will help you get over the bump of if you've ever had an ad rejected and the feedback has been that it was discriminatory or disparaging, offensive. That's another word that people get, is your ad hasn't been approved because it contains offensive language. Please don't freak out. You're not a bad person. What that means is you may have said something like, are you struggling with insomnia? Is it time to lose a few kilos? Are you stiff and are your muscles stiff? Do you have, are you recovering from an injury? Like these sorts of things in Facebook code can be offensive language. Now, like I said at the beginning of the hour, these are the sorts of things that we talk to people about all day long. And this is probably the language that you use all day long because we're coming at it from a place of service. I can help you with that. But in Facebook, they just really are careful, which is good for all of us, about the way that we talk to each other online. Increasingly so, right? I think it's only going to escalate as Sri Mark Zuckerberg comes under increasing scrutiny about what's allowed to be said on the interwebs on his massive platforms. So a little tip for you today, courtesy of the GYYB group, about how to tweak the copy in your ads so that you can still convey the same meaning, but you're not going to have your ad rejected for being discriminatory or offensive. All right, let's see. Hey, Gabriella's here. All right, Gabriella. All right, so that was what I wanted to cover for today. I want to see, what can I help you with? What are you working on? Where are you feeling stuck? I got a great question from Sam on Instagram earlier in the week about how to come up with a great prize for a prize draw at a vendor table that she's having soon. What are you working on? What can I help you with? Do you have some copy that you want to paste in right now and get me to look at it? Type in your questions, folks. I'd love to help you. We've got some more time here this morning. Let's put it to good use. And while you're doing that, I want to remind everybody about the masterclass that is coming up tomorrow. If you haven't got yourself registered, please do go ahead and register. I think we have like 30 or so people registered so far. So that means there's lots of space for you, and there's still, with a container of about that size, still oodles of time for me to give you in-person, not virtually in-person, one-to-one feedback on everything that we develop in the masterclass. If you don't know what the masterclass is, I'm putting on a training that is specifically for creating the offers that you can offer to your people over the holiday period to call in more abundance. I've got 3 things that I'm going to teach you, and then we're going to workshop them live so that you have it all hashed out by the end of the training, and all you got to do is upload it to the internet, go sell it. And you're going to know how to do that in a way that feels great. So I'm going to teach you about gift certificates, how to do that. I'm going to teach you about a flash sale and help you formulate one. And I'm also going to talk about special holiday-based events, how they work really well, and what you need to do to get on the front foot so that they fill up really beautifully, you don't feel overwhelmed, and you're offering something that feels super great and doesn't take time or energy away from your own beautiful holiday time. The link is around this video somewhere. Track it down if you haven't signed up yet. $7. You do need to register. It's happening tomorrow at about this time. If you can't join me live, that's fine. I'll record all of it, and you'll get access to the recording. There's a workbook that goes along with it, so you can, like, in real time with me, be typing in all the stuff that needs doing so that you get off that training with like the manual, your own manual created for your own business with my feedback. Go make that stuff happen. If that sounds good to you, get yourself registered. Angelique says, I'll be there. Good morning, Angelique. Folks, any other yoga business questions that I can help you with for today, or I'll just rave about something else? What's going on? What about you, Angelique? What are you working on? What's feeling like you could use a little more ease in your yoga business? What about you, Andrea? Come on, ladies. I'm still waiting to hear from Alison Wood. You know, while you're thinking about your questions, I'll share a quick personal anecdote. Yesterday, I spent some time with a friend of mine a yoga friend of mine, who's just had an injury. He was teaching a class and was in a deep lunge, and someone came in and he went to look at the person to see who it was, and he did a very bad thing to his knee bad workplace injury, right? And he's going to be off work for at least a week, maybe longer. He's hobbling around on crutches. And this made me think about how important it is. We talk about self-care in terms of refilling the container and doing great things for yourself. I was talking yesterday here about the importance of self-care in terms of business planning. But watching my friend, who is so such an active person, you know, really into being fit and healthy and embodied, watching him be so incapacitated in his own way of like a sense of self really made me just really brought home for me how important it is that we take care of our bodies while we're teaching. So I want to do a shout out for all of you who are watching the video. You know, this guy, he knows his body. He's been working with bodies. He can tell you everything about anatomy you need to know. He's been doing it for a really long time. And one stupid little reflex of turning when he was in this particular lunge, and he's out of work for this period of time. And more to the point, seriously feeling crappy about himself. You know, this can happen so easily. So a shout out to, you know, call to action to really take great care of your own body while you're teaching. It's the best gift, you know, and yes, injuries make us more humble and compassionate as teachers, but you know what? It's a hard way to learn that lesson. So make sure that you're taking beautiful care of yourselves. If you do demos, if you teach classes, you know, if you do the yoga asana with your students at the same time, maybe, you know, check in and you know, it's like my friend was even saying, it's like driving, you know, you just do things by rote. You sort of don't think about it. You just know how to do it, and you can actually have your mind somewhere else. And I think this has reminded me about the importance of not letting our teaching be like that. Not in the sense that you would check out with how you're being with your students, but in the way that you may, I don't know, I sometimes do this, take my body for granted. Sometimes I can think of times when a student has needed some more support or needed me to go do the demo again. And I'll do the demo so that they can see it. And then I realize, well, I don't know if I was actually warmed up enough to do that demo. Or I was so much thinking about, okay, I need to do the demo for this guy, and then to make sure that she's okay over there and restorative. And I need to make sure that the woman doing the menstrual sequence, that the back still knows what she's doing. And I'm sort of managing my class, and I'm not particularly present in my own body when I'm doing the demo. And that's when I'm putting myself at risk. And the implications of that are big. So just on that note as well, folks, you know, this is your business. This is your profession. Make sure you've got all of the insurances and protection that you need so that if something, heaven forbid, did happen to take you out of the game like that, you're covered. Like, do you have health insurance? Do you have income protection insurance? All of these sorts of things that mean that if let's hope it never happens. Ooh, that was me tapping the table. Dog bomb. Touch wood, and the dog alarm goes off. But my point is, you know, if something terrible did happen, would you be safe and well protected? You know, self-care is about, yes, salty baths, and yes, business dates with your journal at nice cafes and walks in nature and going to classes, but it's also about taking great care of the body temple while you're teaching, your body temple while you're teaching, and also having the more shivering coated pieces in place such that if something went wrong, you know, if you're on crutches for a month because you did something that, whoops, that was stupid and I didn't even think at the time, that you're still earning, you know, like just to check in about that kind of boring stuff, I know, but it's important. And being with my friend yesterday really reminded me of how we can all probably do with a little bit of a check-in about, am I really protecting and taking great care of myself in these fronts? Okay, Yogi Superstar, let me ask you a question. Have you registered yourself yet for retreat? Back in Thailand in January 2019 for the Abundant Yoga Teacher Retreat. Think business, training, yoga, amazing new friends, killer food, beautiful place to stay, lots of time to work on your business, rest, relax. Have a great time. Come, register. Here's the link.